Have you ever had one of those moments where you're absolutely certain you're right, only to realize later you were completely mistaken? You probably recognize that stubborn feeling of being right, that inner voice that digs its heels in and refuses to consider another possibility. It's like being in a room with a single window, convinced the view you see is the entire world, unaware there are other windows, other perspectives, just out of sight. This, in a very real sense, is the prison of your mind. And the fascinating thing is, we built most of it ourselves, often without even realizing we were doing it. To understand how to break free, it helps to see this through the eyes of a thinker named Aldous Huxley. He had a simple but profound idea about why we get stuck in these mental ruts. He suggested that our mind isn't just one thing. It's like we have two layers of thinking. The first is this fast, automatic, instinctive part. It's the voice that reacts immediately, judges quickly, and loves to be right. It's built from everything we've ever been told, every experience we've had, every bit of programming from our childhood, our culture, and our society. This part of us creates a simplified version of reality because the real world is just too complex and overwhelming to process every second. So it builds a model, a map. And the problem is, we often mistake the map for the actual territory. Then there's this other layer, a quieter, deeper awareness. This is the part of you that can step back and actually watch that first voice. It's the part that can notice you're getting angry, or that you're clinging to an idea just because it's familiar. This is where real understanding and freedom live. The natural tension Huxley points to is the constant push and pull between these two. The loud, programmed voice wants to keep you safe inside the familiar prison walls it built. The quieter awareness wants to explore the world beyond those walls. Many of us cling to familiar ideas because they feel like a safe harbor in a chaotic world. Letting go of them can feel terrifying, like stepping off a solid path into the unknown. Remember when you realized a childhood belief wasn't quite true? Maybe it was about a holiday figure or a simplified idea about how the world works. That moment of realization can be jarring. For a second, the world feels less solid. But then, something amazing happens. Your understanding gets a little bigger, a little clearer. You haven't lost anything real. You've just exchanged a small, cramped idea for a slightly larger, more interesting one. We do this as adults all the time, just with more complicated beliefs. We hold on to opinions about politics, about other people, about what we are capable of, and we treat them as absolute facts. We surround ourselves with information that confirms what we already believe, and we dismiss anything that challenges it. Our instinctive mind, the programmed part, is protecting its model of the world. It's trying to keep things consistent and easy. But in doing so, it can lock us into a version of reality that might be limited, or worse, completely untrue. Huxley put it beautifully when he wrote, "The real hopeless victims of mental illness are to be found among those who appear to be most normal. They are normal not in what may be called the absolute sense of the word. They are normal only in relation to a profoundly abnormal society." This is a powerful thought. It suggests that a lot of what we consider normal thinking might just be a shared programming, a collective prison we've all agreed to live in without questioning it. Your deepest insecurities, the things you think you can't do, the ways you believe you have to behave to be accepted. So much of this isn't some fundamental truth about you. It's a story you were told, or that you told yourself, and you've been mistaking it for reality ever since. The path out of this prison isn't about fighting your thoughts or trying to empty your mind. It starts with that quieter awareness. It begins the moment you catch yourself reacting and you gently ask, is that truly accurate? Is that thought helping me? Or is it just an old recording playing again? You don't have to believe every thought you have. You can learn to sit with the discomfort of not knowing, of questioning what you've always assumed was true. This is how you start to deprogram yourself. It's a gentle, persistent curiosity about your own inner workings. This cracks open the very first door out of that prison. The initial glimpse of light that suggests there might be a world beyond the walls you have always known. We start our journey in a place of beautiful, if naive, simplicity. The world seems straightforward. Our reactions feel automatic and justified, and we operate on a kind of autopilot. We see things in black and white, right and wrong, friend and foe. This is the comfort of the known, the programming running smoothly without any glitches. It feels safe because it is familiar. You might be someone who resists change at first, preferring the comfort of the predictable pattern, even if it doesn't always serve you well. In this phase, our responses to the world are immediate, like a knee slamming up when it's tapped, a pure stimulus reaction loop. We don't question why we react with anger to a certain comment or with anxiety to a particular situation. We just do. It is the unexamined life, and it feels deceptively easy. But then, something shifts. This is the confusing, often painful middle phase, where the simple map we were given no longer matches the complex territory of real life. This is where the initial programming begins to break down, and it is almost always triggered by a challenge, a failure, or a profound disappointment that our old ways of thinking cannot process. As Aldous Huxley pointed out, experience is not what happens to you, it is what you do with what happens to you. In this tough middle, we are being given the raw material of experience, but we have not yet learned what to do with it. Our old knee-jerk reactions start to fail us, leading to more pain and confusion instead of resolution. We try to force the new, complex problem into our old, simple box, and it just won't fit. Most of us feel uneasy during transitions, and this is the mother of all transitions. It's a period of feeling lost, frustrated, and even hopeless. The walls of the prison are now visible, and they feel more constricting than ever, because you are aware of them, but don't yet have the tools to break through. Huxley offered a powerful contrast that illuminates this entire journey. He distinguished between our immediate conditioned reactions and our ability to pause and respond with conscious thought. The knee-jerk reaction is the voice of the old programming, the automatic defense mechanism built from past experiences and societal conditioning. The thoughtful response, however, is the first act of true freedom. It is the difficult but crucial choice to insert a moment of awareness between the stimulus and your reaction. You may catch yourself pausing before reacting lately, and that tiny, almost imperceptible hesitation is the most significant breakthrough you can have. It is in that sliver of space that your true self can begin to speak, rather than the echo of your conditioning. Gradually, this practice leads to the third phase, a new and far more resilient clarity. This isn't a return to the simple black and white thinking of the beginning. That was a clarity born of ignorance. This new clarity is born of having navigated the complexity and come out the other side. You start to understand the why behind your old reactions, which robs them of their power. You begin to see that people and situations are rarely simply good or bad. They are complex systems acting out of their own programming and pain. This doesn't make things easy, but it makes them understandable. We start noticing our patterns without immediately judging ourselves for them. The goal is no longer to never feel anger or anxiety again. That would be impossible. The goal becomes to notice the feeling arising and to choose how you wish to relate to it. Will you be swept away by the old current, or will you plant your feet and decide your own course? This is the mature clarity that integrates the lessons of the difficult middle phase, granting you a profound sense of agency. You realize the prison door was never locked from the outside. It was only ever your own hand on the latch, and now you are learning how to turn it. Through this discomfort, we begin to notice something subtle shifting within us. It's not a loud, dramatic change, but a quiet recalibration. The things we used to accept as fixed truths about ourselves, our capabilities, our limitations, start to feel less like immutable facts and more like well-worn habits of thinking. We might catch ourselves mid-thought, questioning a long-held assumption, or pausing before reacting in a familiar, unhelpful way. This space, however small it feels at first, is where the new growth happens. It's the crack where the light gets in, as the saying goes, and it's in this light that we start to see our own patterns with a new, kinder clarity. This process isn't about becoming a completely different person overnight. That idea itself is often one of the burdens we need to shed. It's more about returning to who we actually are, beneath the layers of expectation and adaptation we've accumulated over a lifetime. Think of it like cleaning a window that has been gradually fogged over by years of dust and weather. We're not changing the view outside, we're simply restoring our ability to see it clearly. With each small act of awareness, each moment we choose a different response, the glass gets a little clearer. The world, and our place in it, begins to look different. Lighter, perhaps, or full of possibilities we were previously too clouded to notice. You'll likely find daily decisions coming easier, not because your life has become miraculously simple, but because the internal noise that used to accompany every choice begins to quiet down. That frantic, buzzing energy of what if I'm wrong, or what will they think, starts to lose its power over you. It's replaced by a quieter, more trustworthy voice, your own. This doesn't mean you'll never make a mistake again. Of course you will. But the fear of making a mistake ceases to be the primary driver of your decisions. Instead, you might find yourself acting from a place of curiosity, of genuine desire, or a simple sense of what feels right for you in that moment. It's a shift from living on autopilot to taking the helm, gently and with growing confidence. Many notice old frustrations don't bother them as much. The driver who cuts you off, the long line at the grocery store, the minor technological meltdown, these daily irritants begin to lose their sharp edges. It's not that you become passively accepting of everything, but that your emotional reaction is no longer disproportionate to the event itself. You start to see these moments for what they are: small, temporary inconveniences, not personal attacks or signs that the universe is against you. This change is a natural byproduct of that internal quieting. When you are no longer constantly battling yourself, the external world feels less like a battlefield. You conserve your energy for the things that truly matter, for the engagements and projects that bring you fulfillment, rather than spending it all on weathering minor storms. This journey inward, as we're discovering, is deeply personal, yet it connects us to something universal. We begin to understand that while our specific stories are unique, the struggles are profoundly human. We all wrestle with doubt, with fear, with the desire to be loved and accepted. Recognizing this shared humanity can soften our hearts toward ourselves and others. We become less judgmental, more compassionate. We see the same struggles playing out in the people around us, and instead of feeling frustration or competition, we might feel a sense of kinship. We're all trying to figure it out, each in our own way. This realization is incredibly freeing. It releases us from the isolating belief that we are alone in our confusion. As we continue, the very definition of freedom begins to transform for us. It shifts from something we seek externally, in more money, a different job, a new relationship, a perfect body, to something we cultivate internally. Freedom becomes less about the circumstances of our lives and more about our relationship to those circumstances. It's the freedom to choose our response. It's the freedom to not be yanked around by every passing emotion or thought, to see them as weather patterns in the mind that come and go, rather than as commands we must obey. This is a powerful, grounded kind of freedom. It's available to us right where we are, not in some distant future when everything is perfect. This is where we truly start to inhabit our own skin. The endless comparing, the measuring of our lives against some imagined standard, starts to fall away. We begin to appreciate our own unique rhythm, our own pace, our own peculiar set of strengths and soft spots. There's a deep sense of coming home to oneself. It feels less like a striving and more like a settling, a gentle exhale after holding your breath for a very long time. The energy we once spent trying to contort ourselves into shapes that were never meant for us is now available for living, for creating, for connecting. Life begins to feel less like a performance and more like a participation. Together we discover that this entire process, with all its discomfort and its beautiful revelations, is about reclaiming our own experience. It's about moving from being a character in a story written by others to being the author of our own narrative. And this authorship isn't about controlling every event, but about infusing every event with our own chosen meaning and response. We find our center of gravity within ourselves, and from that stable place, we can engage with the world with more authenticity, resilience, and joy. We realize that we were never broken. We were just searching for our truth in the wrong places, looking for answers outside when the most important ones were always waiting within. And in this discovery, we find a lasting peace and a vibrant, authentic kind of freedom that Aldous Huxley captured so perfectly when he described it as the profound and simple relief of finally taking off a pair of shoes that never quite fit.